Think we're good?
We're good.
Yeah. I think we're live.
Well, man, it feels good to be back in the country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was ready to come home.
Where were you?
I was in Mexico for a better part of the month of January, down there guiding Coues deer hunters for Oakstone.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a great trip, but glad to be home. Yeah, 3 weeks in the desert is a long time.
So where tell me where exactly you were, because
So we are out of the state of Sonora. So we are in the north part of Sonora, out of a small town called Cananea, which is a mining community of copper. I don't quote me on this, but I want to say I believe it's the world's largest copper mine. It's massive. It's like wild, like that mine that you go through. It's pretty awesome. So we're in high desert, so like 5,000 feet.
wow.
Yep.
Wow. Really high desert.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of mule deer, or is it
that country has some mule deer. I mean, we do mule deer hunts. We do about 1 or 2 a year. This year wasn't as good as years past. I mean, usually every year we can kill like a 190 to 200 inch deer, but it's free range. So, and the desert doesn't give those up very often on the free range. So, this year the mule deer hunting wasn't that great. Coues deer hunting was lights out, but the mule deer hunting was.
So you do hunt mule deer during this trip?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we
Wow.
did. We did 2 mule deer hunts.
Oh, I would have figured it would be more.
Yeah, we could do more, but like I said, without having a high fence and free range, it's really hard because they're either there or they're not. So they're very small population of mule deer where we're at. Just because it's such high elevation. There's like a big valley and it's a big long flat. And so there is where you see the mule deer, typically. But it's a small portion of the ranch. The rest of it is, obviously is set up for Coues deer. And that's what our main goal is the Coues deer.
If you don't mind me asking, like, how large is that ranch? Like, is it? I've heard Mexico ranches are like typically like super big.
Yeah, so that ranch that we have is roughly 20,000 acres.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah, so it's big.
And that's surprising. Like, for low number of mule deer numbers, I would figure like there's got to be quite a few on that size of a property.
There is at times. It's just so the desert mule deer do not like the mountains. So they like flats. So it's kind of like opposite, like how our whitetails here, like the river bottoms and the flats, and our mule deers like the high country. It's swapped there. So all the Coues deer like the high country, and all the mule deer like the flats and narrows. So they're in the flat where all the mesquite is and the ocotillo, and it's really brushy and it's really hard to see them. Because obviously you got to get to high points and glass. So and so there, those bucks roam, pretty far. Like those bucks will go 20 miles in a night. So it's kind of one of those deals where if they show up, you got to be there, So realistically, if a guy was to go hunt mule deer in that country, you would probably need about a month of hunting every day.
Wow.
Yeah. And you could be done on the first day, obviously. But, after our mule deer hunts were over, we did end up seeing one good buck. One of the hunters glassed him up and said he's like a 190.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But obviously we didn't have any more mule deer hunters.
Yeah.
So go figure.
Yeah. So like, what's the water situation like in that kind of country?
Dude, there's water everywhere.
Really?
It is wild. Every creek bottom's full of water. They have ponds on that place. I mean, that place is, obviously set up it's a running cattle ranch. So, I mean, they have water everywhere. I mean,
troughs, ponds,
streams, creeks, everything, springs. I mean, every draw that you go into has water. Oh, yeah. So there's water everywhere. So it made it difficult to, try to pinpoint deer because, obviously they're spread out when there's that much water. So, but it still makes for a fun hunt. But yeah, every creek bottom has water in it. Every draw has water in it. Every pond, everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is actually very surprising to me. When, at least, I mean, maybe your property is just that kind of special. I mean, but man, like you hear about just the high desert stuff and like water is key. Yeah. And if you don't have the water, I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, it makes
crazy
life so much harder.
That country is just teeming with life. Like it's really crazy. Like when you get there, you think the desert's like this dead, desolate country that has nothing in it. And when you get in there, it's just teeming with life. I mean, it has quail and dove, deer, Quadamundes,
What is that?
lions. Quadamunde is like dude. They call them Mexicans down there call them monkeys, but they're like they look like a badger and a raccoon and a cat had a baby. They look like a badger, but they got a long
tail
tail
that
like a
looks like a
cat.
yes,
Yeah.
but it's striped.
Yep.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know
And
exactly
they're
what you're
kind of like a
talking about.
reddish and like white color. They're kind of cool looking, you know. You can't shoot them, but I mean, you could. You just got to have a permit for them, and we don't have permits for them. But honestly, I don't see the point of shooting them anyways. You know what I mean? They're neat to watch. Like we saw a whole pod of like 30 of them while we were over there. It was crazy, dude.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, they're like moving in like formation across the hill and like climbing in trees and like jumping over rocks and like climbing up on everything. It was crazy. It's wild to watch them like move across the hill. It was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that's the first time. I've seen pictures of them, but I thought they were like kind of compared to what is that? Oh boy, what's the Mexican chupacabra?
Oh, like a
kind
chupacabra,
of thing.
Yeah. I call them the trash panda of the desert. They're like they're just like the raccoons of the desert.
Yeah,
you know?
That's so great.
Yeah, but they're cool. They're cool little creatures, you know. And then tons of javelina. You know, they're javelina everywhere.
So you guys obviously hunt that as well.
Correct. Yeah.
When you're down there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So we get permits for those as well. So
is there waterfowl hunting?
Yeah. So while you're down there, you can bring your shotgun, and you know what I mean. And there's a bunch of ducks, and there was dove, and I mean, dude, millions of dove. It was crazy. Just piles. So they also farm as well, trees.
Wow.
So I mean, just all kinds of wildlife. It's pretty cool. I mean that desert is teeming with life.
So what are the lodging situations like when you go down there, at least with you guys?
So our hunters, when they get down there, we have a ranch house. And when you walk in, there's a big like living room area. And then there's a big, huge rock fireplace that comes out. And then right there is where we do all like the dining and everything. And there's some couches and stuff so people can sit down. And then you go up a step, and then there's another like big kind of like dining room area. And then on the right's our shower. There's a bedroom on the left, and there's 3 beds in that room. And then we have like a table set up, and it's more for like continental breakfast, coffee, and all that kind of stuff, snacks in that room. Then when you walk through the back door, you go into the kitchen, and then there's another bedroom to the left with 3 bedrooms. So we do groups of 6 at a time.
Okay, and that's your max.
That's your max. Yeah, that's our max. I mean, you could do more. You're going to be sleeping on the ground. Yeah. And then the guides, we slept. There was a travel trailer outside. I don't know when they brought it there. It's been there for a while. All the tires are flat on. It's gutted inside. And Hunter and Joseph and I slept on cots in there. And that was and we had one little propane burner in there, and that was our heater.
So how long were you gone for?
A month.
A month.
Yeah. Month and 3 showers. Yeah. I could tell you right now, when I got home, that shower I took was amazing. I felt like I wanted to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner in that shower. I was like, I could spend a week in this thing. Yeah. I mean, we could take showers, but obviously, water pressure there in Mexico is not the greatest. And so we try to leave it up for the clients to be able to have, priority to showers. So by the time, you get done, and then in the night, it's, 11:30, midnight. You're just like, well, I'm just going to go to bed,
Yeah. At that point, it's like,
yeah. And I don't want to be that guy to like go in there and take a shower, and then the client's like, oh, dude, like I want to take a shower, when the guide's in there. So, we kind of try to avoid taking showers while they're there. And then when they're gone, whoever takes the clients back across the border, then, whoever's left, then we'll hop in the shower and wash for the week.
Wow.
Yeah. That's rough.
Different way of living, huh?
Yeah. You either got to love it or you don't.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a good time, at least for a couple weeks out of the year.
Mexico's a great time. It is one of the funnest hunts you can do.
So I've never been. Tell me a little bit about like, if I were to come hunt with you, which I'm actually very interested in doing, to be quite honest with you. Like, I really want to come shoot a Coues deer.
Yeah.
I don't want to burn my my deer points in Arizona or anywhere like that.
Right.
I want a mule deer down over there. But I want to come Coues deer hunting. So what kind of caliber do I need? How do I get my guns across? Do you guys provide guns? Like, do I have to bring certain type of ammo? Like, I know nothing. So
you say you want to book a hunt with us or any outfit when you want to go to Mexico. They're going to send you the gun permits through the Mexican government. You're going to fill all that out. Everything has to be 100%, like all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted, because at any point, if it's not correct, they are going to not let you bring your gun across. So what you do is we're going to send you the paperwork over. You're going to write down the make, model, VIN number of your gun, the make, model, and VIN number of your scope. And it has to be the VIN number that's on your scope. So you've got to make sure that is correct. We ran into a problem. We were down there. A guy had a Gen 1 Night Force. The VIN number is where the scope rings go around it. So he went off the box. And when they got there, they were like, hey, you don't have a VIN number on here. So they made him take a scope off. And then they're like, nope, can't bring it across. So luckily we ran another guy that was down there, and his grandma lived literally like you could see her house through the wall. And so he's like, hey, you could leave your gun there. And our hunter was like, what do you think? I was like, I'm not making that decision for you, dude. Like, not doing that. So if you don't want to get it taken from you, then you have to, I mean, they're not going to take it from you. They're just not going to let you check it into Mexico.
So that was from,
when you cross the border.
So as soon as from San Diego, like where did he fly out of?
We come out of Naco, which is out of Bisbee, Arizona.
Okay.
So we come right out of Bisbee, Arizona. As soon as you cross, you're going to turn right, and they're not going to let you through. You're going to turn right, and then they're going to go and they're going to start checking your truck. You pull out all your ammo and your gun. They're going to look at it, make sure that you have the right ammo to the right gun, and you got to mark down how many boxes of shells you bring, and you got to bring back empty cases. Like, you don't want to leave anything left there in Mexico, because then they're going to think that you left ammunition there. So if you brought 30 rounds, and you shot one round, you better bring 29 rounds and one empty. So don't just jack them out and let them lay on the ground. You got to bring everything back.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. So once you get that paperwork, then what we'll do is we'll email you back a picture of the VIN number that you sent us and everything else. Make sure that you sign off on the paperwork saying, yes, everything is correct. And then we send it over to the Mexican government for you. Then they'll email us back and they'll let us know that they got all the information. Once they have all the information, then we'll let you know, like, okay, you're good. Like, they got all your stuff. So when you show up there, you better have all your paperwork in order for them. And then obviously we have the ranch owner comes with us and meets us there, so he's able to interpret for us, because obviously we don't speak Spanish. So,
wow. Know. So is it just like okay. Yeah, sorry, I was going to change the subject there. Anything else on that topic?
Yeah, and then like as far as calibers, I would bring, like a 6.5 to, a 30 caliber.
Pretty much anything.
They're tiny deer. They're only like 90 pounds. I mean, honestly, you could probably get away with like a 22 250. Like, I knew a guy that was hunting a ranch down by us somewhere, and they shot a buck at 700 yards with a 22 Creedmoor and stoned it dead.
So anything's legal, essentially, like
pretty much
for a caliber wise. There's not
they don't really have like you just don't want to bring anything that's going to draw attention. You know what I mean? Like, because those guys,
like, you're not bringing an AR-15
right
with a 30 round mag.
Yeah, like, they don't really know guns. Obviously it's a country that doesn't allow you to own guns. It's like when they're doing their whole little rigmarole of like pulling the bullets out and looking at it, they have no clue what they're doing. They're just messing with you. Like, I will say this, like, when you go down there, you got to be patient, because you're dealing with the Mexican government, and they're going to dick you around for a while just because they can. Sometimes you get there and they're just like, okay. And other times you're going to be there for 2-3 hours. It's a process. And then to bring them back out, when your hunt's over, then we will drive you back out. We will stop at the government center where the military is, and then they're going to stamp your gun off, letting you know that, hey, they're checking their gun out of Mexico. Then you got to stop at the next government center right before you go out of the border to show that you got it stamped off, and then they'll go through everything, and then they stamp it one more time. That way, when you come back the next year, if you decide to go hunting again, you have all the paperwork. So it shows that you brought your gun out of Mexico, because you do not want to go back in and them to be like, well, dude, you never checked your gun out. Now, where you won't get in trouble is if you've got the same gun with the same VIN number and everything else, then they're fine with it. But if you try to bring a different gun, oh no, you're going to jail, because they think you left that other gun in Mexico. So you have to check it out. And when you do that, you can go in that government center and they'll sit there and stare at you for 2 hours and won't say anything. And then they'll go, okay, let me see your paperwork. There you go. So they just like to play the game. So that part you have to get in your head of already going, okay, I'm going to deal with this. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're going into it expecting.
Just expect a headache.
Yeah.
2 headaches going in and coming out.
Mm.
The rest of the time in between is going to be great.
So what if I have a really expensive rifle and scope and everything, and I don't want to take that risk? Do you guys have guns there that I could use?
We cannot let you use our guns. It's against the law.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to bring in your own gun.
Your own gun. You cannot use ours.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you get caught and say just by chance the military or the federales show up on the ranch and they say, let me see your paperwork, and that gun's registered to me and you're using it, you're going to get in trouble. So you have to bring your own gun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know. So for me, I would, I have to buy another rifle that's not as expensive and not super cheap. So
yeah, it's a good problem to have. Yeah. As a guy, we're like, buy another rifle? All right.
All right. I mean, babe.
Yeah.
I got to get another gun.
I got to get a Mexico gun. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would, if you're going to go down to Mexico, I mean, you could bring a nice gun. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to take it from you. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Like, you just don't want to have to turn around and go back into Arizona somewhere and try to figure out where you're going to leave it.
Yeah.
So, you got to make sure all your stuff is up to par. Yeah.
So yeah, Mexico's weird. I mean, like, they have the weirdest things that they're like anal about, and then other guns. Things are like, whatever.
You can drink and drive around. They don't care. But if you have a gun, it's a big deal because obviously they don't want anybody having guns there.
Yeah.
They have to go through hoops to get guns. You know what I mean? Which is funny because everybody down there has guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, you're talking to some of the locals down there, and it's crazy. Like, they just barter, like, for ammunition. It's like, oh, you got a goat? It's like, yeah, well, I need a goat. Well, I need 22 bullets. And it's like, well, give me a goat, and I'll give you 22 bullets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, because they got family members that live in, like, Arizona. So, like, when they come, obviously, they're smuggling stuff into Mexico for them and vice versa. So, it's
Mexico.
It's Mexico.
That's
Mexico. What we kept saying down there. It's Mexico. It's Mexico. Mexico.
Do what you want.
Right.
I mean, it's at your own risk. I mean, like, it's not, it's against their rules to, like, you borrow somebody else's gun. But if they don't catch you,
right.
I mean, they're not going to catch you.
Yeah.
They're more likely than not. They're not going to go after that kind of thing. But interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So how many bucks did you guys kill? Or at least you personally that you guided, like, what was that like?
I guided 7 Coues deer hunts down there while I was down there. We did 14 total Coues deer hunts. We killed 14 Coues bucks and 2 mule deer while we were down there.
So 60. Okay.
Yeah.
4 animals a week.
Yep. We were pumping. We had 2 the first week. We had 1 Coues deer hunter and 1 mule deer hunter. The second week we had 5 Coues deer hunters and 1 mule deer hunter. The third week we had 6 Coues deer hunters, and then the last week we had 2 Coues deer hunters.
Interesting.
Yep. So, and then usually we were done by day 3 on each hunt. We were,
and it's a 5-day hunt.
It's a 5-day hunt.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And by day 3, we were usually pretty much tagged out.
So do you guys do a very similar thing as Chad does in Bradley, where if you tagged out on the first day, you get to still hang out for the next couple days?
Yeah, you're there for 5 days. So you can stay and hang out, and you know what I mean? Like, we go out, and then, like, guys can buy the permits to go shoot javelinas. So
okay.
They just, however many permits we have, we try to, keep the permits, so that everybody can, have a chance to go, javelina hunting or whatever, you know what I mean? So, because down there you got to have permits. So
do you guys like buy them in bulk and then?
It's whatever the landowner gets from the government.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's allocated 5 mule deer and 20 Coues deer, and
right.
he gives you guys 16 and 2, and he's going to go hunt with his buddies, 3 of them, and
Yep,
okay.
correct. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
So when we're done and we leave, then obviously then he'll hold some back for him and his family. And they'll go hunt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right on. Wow. That's all interesting, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of rules down there. I mean, dude, like coyotes down there are illegal. You can't shoot them.
Can't shoot coyotes.
Yep. Okay. Or mountain lions or bobcats. Yep. Matter of fact, it's crazy. Like, you'll drive down the roads and they have caution signs for coyotes.
So how far away from the border are you? Because
we're about an hour and a half.
So you could be in technically jaguar country.
There's jaguars where we were at.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
We've never seen them personally, but
there's only a few.
there's only a few.
But
man, I would love to see one day. Man, the whole time I was down there, I kept telling everybody, dude, if I could see a jaguar, like that would be so awesome.
That's so cool. I mean, I keep seeing like on, like Facebook or whatever, they have these like videos where they're like new discovery of like a second or third like group of family of jaguars in Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, like they're making a comeback there. They're making a comeback on the other side. The problem is, I mean, the wall is there and it's separating the two. So it's interfering with like the wildlife transitions.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate, but man, it's cool to see them thrive or starting to come back on either side.
Yeah, like it was one of those things, man. Like it would just be, it'd be like one of the most like awesome experience of my career
for sure
to like get to see a jaguar in the wild. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, like I'm kind of weird about that. Like like with mountain lions, I always like, dude, like we should be able to hunt them. But I don't know what it is about a jaguar or me, but like I don't know if I don't really care to shoot one.
Well, no. I mean, there's so few of them. They're so rare. I mean, if they were as many as mountain lions, I think you'd have probably the same.
I'd probably have the same mentality. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just such a beautiful animal. Like
they're gorgeous.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, man, I would love one day to be down there and just be like, oh my God, there's a jaguar. Like that would like, I could die a happy man. Like it'd be the coolest thing, cause that's such a rarity to see, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, like down there, like predators and stuff is all off limits.
I'm on a project right now where we're doing some fire break stuff, and went over to the Cat Haven.
Oh, really?
And we're hiking up above, and that is a crazy. Have you been over there?
No, I've never been there.
Holy, you have to take the boys.
Really?
It's cool. I mean, we were working on the neighboring ranch. We were looking for artifacts like Indian stuff, and I mean, you're just hearing like lions screaming or tigers roaring and like mountain lions screaming, and you're like, what on earth is going over there? And then we went over to there because it was like right next door. I mean, like the cages, you could kind of see them from this neighbor's property, and they're like right there. You go over there, I mean, they have tigers and lions and mountain lions and all these crazy like Chinese cats, and like
makes you wonder how these people smuggled them over here.
Oh, I don't know how. I have no idea. I don't know if they're a rescue program is mainly what they are. But
that's how Tiger King started.
Yeah, crazy. But it was just wild. I'm like listening to them like just scream and roar, and I'm like, that's kind of freaky. Like if you were like visiting and didn't know that was where that was, I mean, I would not want to hunt over there, but I was curious actually. A lot of the neighbors, when we were doing the walk around, they had sheds, like buck sheds, like on their like their entryways and stuff like that. And I'm like, there are buck sheds, there are deer coming on here, knocking off their antlers. Are you kidding me? Like that is.
I wonder if they taught them.
I'm like, right? I'm like, what?
I know I would if I was a deer. Like I'd stand in front of the cage and be like, you can't touch me.
But they also said that mountain lion, they'll call in mountain lions essentially.
Oh, I would assume, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, so they hang up on the edge.
Yeah.
They hang up on the edge and they don't come down in because there's too many male cats.
Oh,
for the most part, I think is what they said. And yeah, it's just there's too much competition,
right?
Potential competition,
right?
And so they just kind of like hang out on the edge. But they get them on
wild male. I'd still try to break a piece off. I just come by the cage real quick. Hey, back up here real quick.
Come on.
Yeah. She's like, how did she get pregnant? She's been by herself. I was here.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so like in Mexico though, like everything, obviously coyotes, bobcats, mountain lions are all protected. You can't shoot them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we always get hunters that are like, so we see a mountain lion. I'm like, same thing you do in California. You look at them.
Yeah.
Cannot shoot them.
Yeah.
They're like, really? I'm like, it's illegal.
Do not do that.
Yeah, do not do it. If you want to go to Mexican jail, by all means, go for it.
I ain't.
But I am not going with you. Sorry, amigo. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, once you get the paperwork done, that's the hardest part. That is the hardest part. And then just getting down there is whether you want to fly there or drive there.
Interesting.
Yep. and then we pick you up at the border and bring you right to the ranch.
Sounds good.
Yep.
So do you guys have like your private chef or anything there?
Yeah.
Still
So we have a
too?
lady that a local lady named Margarita, and then her son Carlos. He's a local cowboy there in Sonora, and he comes and helps us guide. And dude, that guy knows that land like the back of his hand, dude. It's wild.
That's cool.
He knows everything about it. Just running cattle and on horseback. And Margarita's food is money. Like, she's ruined me on Mexican food because I cannot eat it now here. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Like homemade fried beans, like refried beans, homemade tortillas, chili relleno. I mean, flautas. I mean, dude. I mean, everything. And it was cool. It's like they have this like, they have that masa or whatever, and then they have these they're called chiltepines, and they grow in the desert. And then when they dry out, they turn red, and you crush them up and you sprinkle it on your food. And it's hot. It's like a pepper, but you just only find out in the desert. And so they'll go out like and pick them in the desert, and then they'll put them in a little jar and let them dry out, and then they'll put them on there. So the owner's wife one night was like, "You want to try them?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude." I was like, "I love it hot, dude." I was like, "Sprinkle it on there." Dude, you know what? It wasn't bad. It was like one of those ones where you eat it, the heat kind of touches you at first, and then it sits on your lips for a little bit, and then it goes away. I mean, it's hot. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not into hot, don't eat it. But it was good. Like, it didn't like burn you out of your skin, but you definitely knew it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's called, if I'm saying it right, it's like chiltepines or whatever. Yeah, they're like look like little red berries.
Cool.
Yeah. And then homemade salsa every night, and like, I'm not gonna lie though, dude. When by the end of the hunt, I was done. I've been done with Mexican food for a while.
I don't know if I would ever get sick of it.
The second night I was home, I went and had Mexican food. I said I wasn't going to eat any, but I was like, all right, you want to go?
Not as good, I'm assuming.
Yeah, not as good, but yeah, no, it was. The food's always really good. So she'll make lunch and dinner every night, and then breakfast is kind of like
a little continental snack. Kind of thing.
Grab some muffins, fruit or something, and then we're grab some coffee and we're out the door.
Right on. So, you wake up, you grab your snacks, you hit the road. What does a typical day look like for the hunter?
So we hunt us side by sides. So obviously it's 2-on-1. So it would say like if you were to go down there with us with a buddy, it would be you and your buddy with me, and then 2 other guys with another guy. With either Joseph or Hunter, and then 2 with the other guide. And then we already kind of the night before we'll discuss like where we're going to go on the ranch. That way we're not hunting over the top of each other. And then we just kind of divide and conquer. And then about 11 o'clock or so, we'll start working our way back down, go have lunch, maybe take like a little hour power nap or something. And then, the guys will, that's usually when we'll pick ticks and on the capes, which sucks. Because if anybody doesn't know this, if you want to get a deer mounted, you have to pick ticks off the cape. And if they find ticks at the border, they're going to take it. So what you do is we'll pick ticks, put it back in the freezer. Next morning we get up, we'll pull it out, come back in the afternoon, spend an hour and a half or so on it, picking ticks, put it back in the freezer, and usually spend about an hour and a half for about 3 days on a cape. And we usually don't have a problem, but it depends on who the person is. You know what I mean? They can we've had them, throw cape out with 1 tick that was dead. So, you got to do the best you can. So,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, you could send your cape to Hermosillo, and there's a place there that you pay, and they'll pick ticks until it passes, and then they'll send you your cape. Sometimes you get your cape back, sometimes you don't. It's Mexico. If you shoot a Coues buck, I tell everybody, if you're really hell-bent on having your own cape, great, we'll try it. But it's best just to go shoot it, Euro it, bring it home, buy a cape, and have it mounted. You know what I mean? All Coues look the same without the antlers anyways.
Yeah.
Unless it had like some kind of weird configuration or something on the chest or something,
or something. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so like then about 3 o'clock, then we'll roll back out for the evening hunt. Then we come back. Obviously, if you killed something, we'll skin it. And then we spend 1 day towards the end of the hunt where in the afternoon, we'll pressure wash, and we bring all the stuff to boil our heads out, pressure wash everything off, and have them Euro'd ready to go so they can get across the border, because they cannot have meat and they can't have brain matter or spine or bone.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we'll bone all your meat out into primals, wrap everything, and freeze it, and then take it across, because you can't have bone in it at all.
Interesting.
Yep.
So do you have like kind of a highlight hunt from the trip, or like what's your?
My favorite one was the second week I was there. I had Matt Goff. He's been hunting with Chad since day one, when Chad first started Oakstone, and then his buddy Ken was with me, and so the first morning of the first full day of our hunt, we pulled up on this ridge, and I was getting my tripod out, and I had one leg extended, and I looked down, and I'm like, oh shit, there's a buck. And I'm like, he's heavy and he's kind of narrow, but I didn't really like get a good look at him. And then I realized what he was, and I'm like, oh, Matt, get your gun. And then he takes off running with a doe. And looking back on it, hindsight, it's always 2020. I probably should have just drove around in the bike. We probably could have cut him off, but we went on foot thinking that he was just going to run off the edge and stop. Well, he ended up making it onto the neighbors. We were like right on the corner of the property, 20,000 acres, and you're still hunting borders.
Yeah.
So we backed out of there, and I told those guys, I said, hey, don't say anything about this deer. And I normally wouldn't do that, but on this deer, I was like, dude, this is a big deer, and I was like, I want to kill this buck. So that night I told them, I said, we're going to go back there in the morning, and we're going to go try to kill, or we're going to go back tomorrow, and we're going to try to kill this buck. So that morning they were like, hey, we're going to go back in there. And I said, I want that deer. We're going to go in there in the afternoon, because what my idea was, and this works for any deer, I figured that doe would come back to that in that hole, and he's obviously going to follow her. So what I wanted him to do was be in a bed for a while, so he gets stiff legged. So when you pull in there, if he happens to stand up, he's not fresh legged and just gone. He's going to stand up and look at you. So we went around, hunted that morning. We actually passed on a really big typical buck, like probably like a 110 ish type typical 3-3 with eye guards. And Ken was like, dude, are you serious? And I'm like, don't shoot that deer. Like, we got to give this other deer a chance. So about 11:45, we roll in there, dude, and it worked out perfectly. That buck stood up at 100 yards, and Matt just could not find him. And he stood there for about a minute, and then he trotted up and went over the hill. So we turned around on the side-by-side, and we drove back around, and I was thinking he was going to go across the face, but he never came out. And I'm like, man, so we're, obviously everybody's giving out their own scenarios. And I go, I think that buck fish hooked us and went right back in the brush. Like, I think he just went up over and whoop, right back in the brush. So I was like, we're going to sit here till dark. And we're not going to move. So for 4.5 hours, I sat there and I turned that deer up, and he stood up for about 2 seconds, and he walked up, he looked to the left, looked to the right, turned around, walked right back in the brush. And I was like, dang it. But then that was good, because then I knew he was in there. So I was like, all right, well, that's good. Like, now we know he's here. So we sat there for another hour and a half, and he stands up. And I turn him up again, and he stands there for like a minute. And we're trying to get Matt situated. Matt's not finding it. And then the scope it was all blurry. The parallax he's yelling at Ken. And I'm like, Ken, fix his parallax. Like, get it focused. You know what I mean? Like, because in my head, I'm like, dude, this deer is not going to make another mistake. He's a giant. They don't make mistakes very often. He's already made 2.
Yeah.
And we did not capitalize on either one of those. And then I watched him walk out of my life for a third time. And I'm like, dang, dude. So we're sitting there and we're talking, and, and Ken's a guide for R&K Outfitters in Utah. And so like him and I are talking, and he's like, maybe you think you should, maybe try to get a different angle on him. I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. So I said, Ken, you stay up here. I'm going to loop around. So we got around, and we got up to where we could see the whole face. And I told Matt, I said, look, dude, we're like 150 yards from this face. If this wind switches, we're screwed. Like, he's going to, like, he'll bolt.
It's a Hail Mary.
It's a Hail Mary. As long as the wind stays good and he don't see us, I think we're going to be all right. So we're in there for about an hour and a half, dude. And I'm just like burning this hillside apart with my binoculars, dude. Like, just every little opening and shaded pocket, like just trying to find him. And I finally turned up his antler tips. I could see about 4 inches of his antlers sticking up out of the brush. And I'm like, and I sat there and I stared at him for like 2 or 3 minutes. I didn't say anything, because I was like, I don't want to look stupid. Like, oh, I got him. And then it's branches. And he turns his head, and I was like, got you. I was like, I got him, Matt. Matt's like, where's he at? And I said, I can't tell you, because obviously there's no landmark to go off of. You know what I mean? It's just a wall of like ocotillo and like mesquites. So it's hard to see in there. And then he stands up and he starts raking the brush. And then a little forward horn walks out. And Matt's like, I see the forward horn. I said, he's on the same trail as that forward horn. He's coming to the left. Well, then Ken walks up, and Ken's like, okay, you see the dead tree? And he's like, yeah. He said, just follow to the left. And that buck walks out, and I'm like, all right, Matt, he's standing on the same trail just left of that foghorn. And he's like, I can't see him. I can't see him. And all of a sudden he goes, oh, there he is. And I'm, excuse my French, but verbatim, I go, send that motherfucker to the Lord right now. And he just goes, boom, whack. And just, I mean, his back legs go forward, his front legs go stiff, and he just plop. I mean, just like, I mean, doesn't even twitch. Like graveyard dead stoned him. And I was like, I jumped up and I grabbed him and I was like, dude, I was like, you just shot a freaking giant. It was like 6 hours we sat on that deer, dude. Like, it was like, oh. And then when we got up there, he was way bigger than we thought he was.
Really?
He ended up being hit 9 on one side and 5 on the other.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, dude. He was an absolute monster mega giant. Like,
what did he run?
We never officially scored him. If I had to take a stab in the dark, he's right there at 120, ish, maybe give or take a few. Like,
that's big.
It's big.
That's like, big for a Coues.
Yeah. I mean, super long main beamed. He was a typical 4-4 on each side, but then on his left side, he had like these like sawtooth blade looking points that came off his main beam, and then his eye guard was crowned, so he had a chicken foot on top, and then on the other side was another big like 4-inch eye guard, and then just a big 4 on the other side. It just carried his mass everywhere, like all the way to the top, all the way out his main beams. Like, I mean, his main beams were like 3 inches apart from touching. So, you figure he's probably going to be somewhere between 17 and a half and 18 inches on his main beams. Like, just a mega giant, dude. Like,
was that the biggest buck you guys have killed off that place?
No.
Wow.
3 years ago, we've killed bucks. We've killed quite a few bucks in the 120s. 3 years ago, I was on there with a buddy. He killed a crazy, like non-typical, like super heavy palmated buck. I'll have to show you a picture of it. It's like wild. Double eye guards that were like 4 inches long. Like had 2 eye guards that came out, and then eye guards that came up, and then just like palmated. I mean, dude, it was wild how crazy that deer was. So yeah, I mean, that ranch has crazy genetics. Like, we don't hit the brakes for like 100-inch deer. Like, I don't even look at it twice. Like, I'll just drive right on by it.
Wow.
Yeah, like we try to stay in that 108 to 110 mark, on average, which is a giant Coues deer.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's a special place. Like, and what's cool was that buck that we shot was one of the smartest deer I've ever hunted.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to also dive into is like, what made him so smart? What did you do differently than you've done for other deer? And like,
so when I saw him the first day, he was with a doe, and he immediately ditched her, and he was running hard. Those big deer, like, they'll rut like that, but when you get a big buck that's really smart, he'll ditch a doe like that. Like, he does not care; he'll ditch her. And I think what a lot of guys do is they get in their heads and they start to get panicked, so they're going to go push him. And I knew, like, if I pushed this deer or pushed the envelope and pushed him way out on the neighbors, you know what I mean? And obviously he's already on the neighbors, so it's not much I could do about it anyways. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go poach the deer. You know what I mean? But I don't want to like keep pushing him further on the neighbors and then blow the doe out. So what we did was we just backed out and went and hunted somewhere else. And the reason why I didn't say anything is I didn't want, no one else really hunts that little hole. And I didn't want anybody going in there
blowing them
out on accident, or just being like, well, I'll just cruise through there real quick. And so when I laid in bed that night, I realized, I'm like, you know what? I got to let this buck go in there and just bed and get stiff-legged. Like, I want him in there in his bed for a while, so where if we do jump him, he's not going to blow out of there. And dude, as soon as we saw him that first time, the second day, he was with a doe and he ditched her and never went back to her. And so like, and so like, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, for the 4.5 hours we sat there, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was part of me that was like, maybe he just turned and ran the spine of the finger out, and I never saw him, and he just went up and over, and we're wasting our time. But you got to go with your gut. Like, guys start to second guess themselves. If you make a decision, stick to it. Whether it's right or wrong, just stick with it. Because as soon as you start bouncing around in your head is when you're going to make mistakes. You know what I mean? And that goes with any type of hunting. So for me, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to go with my gut. I know these big deer, a lot of times, will just go up and fish hook and go right back in the brush and make you think that they left. And when he for 4.5 hours, I guarantee you that buck sat there and listened, and then realized he didn't hear anything anymore, and was like, "Oh, they left." And then it was weird because when he came out, no joke, like, he stood there and goes, "Look left," He looked right and then turned around and walked and laid back down. So it was almost like he was like looking to see if we were there. You know what I mean? And then when he came out, like he never really exposed himself. Like he would just like he was always in the brush. Like you could just see the outline of him. You know what I mean? So like he was just a very old, wise, cagey buck, which makes me like those are my favorite like type of deer to hunt because then like when you checkmate him, it's like, dude, it's just awesome because it's like you outsmarted a deer that's in his prime, probably 6.5-year-old deer, and he's been around the block.
Yeah, he's big for a reason.
He's big for a reason. And, a lot of guys don't realize that. Like, even when they're rutting like that, hardcore, a big buck, dude, like a big mature deer, adios doe, and he'll ditch her, And so I feel like if we'd went in there like a wrecking ball and just been stupid and not precise and, we would have blown that deer out of there. I don't think we would have killed him, But, and then too, like, as a guide, like being open to listening to other people too. Like when Kim was like, hey, maybe we should reposition. Like if we hadn't repositioned, we probably would have seen him, but it probably would have been about a 400 or 500 yard shot instead of 150. You know what I mean? So like, even in my own head, I'm thinking like, no, we're going to sit here. You know what I mean? But then realizing like, nah, you know what? He's right. Like, let's just reposition and let's move. It's only day 2. And if we bump him and we booger him a little bit, I'll give him a day or 2 and I'll come back. You know what I mean? And it obviously worked out fine. But yeah, dude, like just going with your gut, and if you can understand deer, it helps you out a lot. You know what I mean? And I knew that deer hadn't left because I was like in my head, I'm like, there's no way I would have seen him. There was like one spot he could have taken that I would never have seen him, but I felt like I focused on that the most, and I felt like I would have seen a flash or like him going through an opening real quick, and I never saw him come out of there. And I was like, he has to still be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah, and that works with any deer. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, it's a rutting deer, so it's a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little different if he's not rutting and you blow him out of there. Sometimes then he won't come back. Yeah. And then you're wasting your time. He'll come back eventually. It might take a couple of days, but obviously he's following the doe. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that was like the highlight of my hunt. I had a lot of highlights, but that was like the one.
I mean, you killed that is a true giant.
Yeah.
For Coues.
Yeah.
That is a very big deer.
Yeah, and as a guide, like for us, like as a guide, like even though we didn't pull the trigger, it's like
you killed that buck.
Yeah, it's still like for us, it's like not necessarily the part of pulling the trigger, but like getting your client to kill that deer.
It's harder.
It's harder. And Matt's a really good hunter. You know what I mean? Like Matt hunts all over the world, dude. Matt's a freaking dude. I love that guy. That guy's dude. Ken and I and Matt had an absolute blast for 5 days. I can tell you right now, if you are a thin-skinned person, do not go in that rig, because dude, the shit talking that was going on was hilarious, dude. Like just constant talking shit to each other, and it was awesome. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like 2 clients and a guide. It's just like 3 buddies going for a hunt. You know
that's
what I mean?
Cool.
And so it makes it pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and all those guys were from Utah, so
they had something to connect on too outside of it. Yeah, that's really fun.
And then like off the topic, this is a short little funny story, but. So like these boys can drink, dude. Like they like to drink. And the last night they were there, they were out of booze. Like they were like scraping the bottom of the barrel, for whatever little beer they had left and like hard liquor. And one of the guys there, his name was Dante. And I look over and I'm like, where did you get that Tecate? And this thing is like faded. Like you could barely read the lettering on it. Like it looked like it had been rolling in the back of somebody's pickup for like months. And he's like, oh, dude, I found it out in the desert in the bushes. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I found it in the bushes. And I'm like, so you just picked up a beer you found out in the desert in Mexico and you're drinking? He's like, oh, it's not opened. He's like, tastes good to me. And I'm like, good God.
You got a problem.
Oh, yeah. It was hilarious, dude, because when he would get drunk at night and then he would go to sleep and he would speak to himself in like Chinese in 2 different persons. So one would be like a high-pitched voice and the other would be like a low, and he would like say these weird gibberish things and have like a conversation with himself. Dude, somebody's making fun of him every morning. And dude, that guy it was his first time. He was a bird hunter. So this is like his first big game hunt. And so he had a blast. He killed a great deer on, I think, the 4th day of his hunt. And it was in like the pouring rain, because it rained for 3 days straight. While we were there.
Kidding.
Yeah, dude, it was kind of sketchy because like the rivers, the flash flooding.
Yeah.
So we were stuck, you know what I mean? Like we couldn't leave and they had to stay an extra day because we couldn't get across the river.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun time, man. I'm excited to hopefully eventually get out there within the next couple of years.
You got to do it. You know what I
and
mean?
go
Like,
hunt with you
I will
guys.
tell you this: it's only going to get more expensive. So I tell everybody like this, dude. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. It stings at first, but it feels better later. Like everything goes up. So it's like what I tell everybody. Like when I was talking to you about the Alaska trip, it's like, what do you got to put things into perspective? Like if you want to go do Mexico, you then got to say, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to go somewhere, for 2 years, and I'm going to save and get it bought now, and then get your deposit in. That way, if it does go up, at least you're locked in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I tell everybody, dude, like you got to go hunt Coues deer because they are the most humbling deer you'll hunt. They call them the gray ghost for a reason. They'll walk into your life and walk right on out on an open hillside, and you'll never see them again. Like it's like if you took a black-tailed deer and a wild pig and you put them together.
They're all up in that brush, and
they're super like finicky, cagey deer. They're high strung. They never stop moving. Like they're never not moving. They're just constantly walking around. And they're so tiny that those walk in the brush and they just poop gone. And you just don't ever see them again. They're out of your life. And if you're not good at spotting deer, it humbles you really quick because dude, if you've not hunted before, it's hard. You know what I mean? Like, so you really got to make sure that you are on par of seeing animals. Like it's really hard to find them because they're so tiny. Sometimes they stick out like a sore thumb, but a lot of times, dude, like, you take a 90-pound animal at 500 yards in brush and it's really hard to see them. You know what I mean? So it's just they're a bitchin' deer to hunt, dude.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've kind of hit our time for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm stoked for, the potential to go out there. I'd love to try to get out there this next year and hunt with you guys, and specifically you, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be a freaking blast, man.
Oh yeah, we'd have to do a film on it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome film.
That would be a fun film.
Yeah.
For both parties.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was gone, who did you have out at your place?
Well, let's cut this one here, and we'll roll on to the next one after I change the battery and everything. But yeah, man, we'll continue this conversation for the next podcast.
All right.
Awesome.